Duchesne. McGinnis ahead to Elik. All trying to gain position in the slot. They go to Shanahan. Shanahan leaves for Elik. He shoots across to Joseph Baranek. Pass too far, and now the Blues will play with Todd Elik. Elik towards the back end. Digs his goal! Todd Elik has 2 goals. St. Louis leads 2-0.
Elik moving in on the right wing. He'll take a shot. He scores from the right wing dot. Elik upstairs to beat McLean.
And Nieuwendyk on that face-off. Manning the shot right on. There's Elik's side of the net. Vernon lost it. Wraparound scores! Oh, Todd Elik capitalized on a mistake by Mike Vernon. Here's Elik loose again. Todd Elik in, shooting, scores!
24 professional seasons to your name, playing until you're 44 years old. You've seen a little bit of everything, from playing in the OHL when rivalries were at their peak with brawls and warm-ups, to playing in the IHL and AHL when players had 400 penalty minutes in one season, to playing with names like Gretzky, Robitaille, Robinson, Blake, Modano, Hull, Oates, Makarov, Shanahan, and Bourque, to playing against names like Lemieux, Messier, Yzerman, Sakic, Coffey, Solani, Yager, Curry, Bure, Fedorov, Gilmore, Lindros, and Lidstrom, to leading the Kings in playoff scoring in your rookie season. Your totals of 329 points in 448 games in the NHL puts you 23rd all-time in points per game for undrafted players with 50 games or more played in the modern draft era. And your 42 points in 52 playoff games puts you 10th all-time in points per game for undrafted players in the modern draft era. Your story is filled with longevity, legendary teammates and opponents, as well as an unbelievable amount of drive, passion, and commitment to seeing your dream all the way through. Which those numbers are pretty crazy when you put, like, I guess the draft didn't start until 1963, so technically the players before then were not drafted or undrafted. I don't know how that works.
They were just protected, Jacob, more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, clubs would go to see the kids play, and they would just ask them to sign probably a letter, and they protected them.
Fair. Makes sense.
Yeah.
There's even, names on that list, like Bobby Orr and Gretzky are on that list.
Yeah,
technically, if you don't include them, you're 8th in playoff, and then even higher.
To be honest with you, Jacob, when Boston scouted, they went to Perry Sound. They were looking at another guy, and then they saw him.
Bobby or who?
Yeah,
Bobby. Nice. Yeah, it was just kind of weird because Gretzky was obviously WHA, and then they moved up to the NHL there.
They did. They traded him to Edmonton from Indianapolis. Then he was in. I think he was in the WHA 1 year.
Yep.
And then the WHA merged with the NHL.
Yep. Yeah. They. I watched his 30 on 30 for 30 the trade, and then I watched the first season VHS highlights of the Kings of your first season, which goes over kind of you as a rookie, and it actually mentions that in there, but. I just wanted to go into just your personal details too. Born April 15, 1966 in Brampton, Ontario. Hockey was the heart of the culture at the time. You had an original 6 team with the Toronto Maple Leafs nearby that just came off winning a Stanley Cup in 1962, 63, 64, and then 67. Then on top of that, you were born into a hockey family with your dad owning and running a hockey school, and your uncle Bo, who had an extremely successful career in the AHL, where he won Rookie of the Year, a Calder Cup, and was named to the first All-Star team in his first season in the AHL. Then he ended up playing 3 games with the Red Wings as well, with names like Gordie Howe and Alex Delvecchio and Norm Ullman, Terry Sawchuk. I think Jack Adams was the coach. Crazy, kind of. I looked at he obviously only played 3 games, but his game logs were funny, seeing the names that were in there.
Crazy.
You were kind of bound to get into hockey, obviously growing up in the GTA, but then also having the hockey family. How do you remember getting into hockey?
Well, obviously with Papa and the hockey school, having my brother Billy and Sandra playing, so it just went hand in hand.
Yep.
So,
no, that's
yeah,
fair.
and then I think they told me the first time I skated, I hated it, I guess, and then next time I went out, I loved it, and then kind of the rest is history.
What age did you start skating? Do you
I
remember?
think I was 4.
Nice. Yeah.
I think it was 4, and then really didn't play competitively till 7. Then I played house league because I'm just starting out. Was just having fun, and then kind of started to make the rep teams, they were called then, like the big teams on each town.
Where did you play youth hockey
In
mostly?
Bol-
You
in,
said
Bol- in Bolton,
Bolton.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. Were your
Um,
were your parents together, and how long were they together? What age
till
did
I
they?
was till I was 13.
13. Okay. I was
Yeah,
wondering about
that's
that. You
when
all lived together
we'll
in Bolton.
we'll get to that in a
Yep.
bit. Yeah, and then I played novice, Adam, Pee Wee, and Bolton. We had good teams. We won provincial championships twice. Then I obviously I was a bit of a talent. The game was came quite easy to me. I was a bit ahead of the game, but when I turned to bantam, kids got bigger and stronger, and I was starting to get hit a bit, and I was like, "This isn't normal." So I really had to adjust. And then Papa, we kind of agreed that we'd move to the city to Toronto. I went to St. Mike's. So in order to get to St. Mike's, you had to do 1 year grade 8 in Toronto. So I moved
Okay.
to. At that time, I moved to Uncle Peter's.
I actually I have a few questions before, with that.
Sure,
That
go ahead, Jacob.
with your dad, obviously he had an injury when he was 19. He
Yeah,
broke his neck, right? Do you feel like he kind of not forced, but like really pushed hockey onto your family,
not
or
a,
no?
not at all.
No, that's
No.
fair. I was wondering with that. With
Yeah,
he
Papa
didn't.
never coached. He never coached, but he always we had the best stuff. So.
Nice, good. And then your uncle Bo, how did he play a role with you growing up in hockey?
Um, Obviously, I'm proud of him playing. Wanted to kind of keep the name going in a way, and I really was just naive, Jacob, really green, and I love hockey. Everything. I mean, I'm living in Bolton, and we had a basement, not furnished, and I mean, I was down there every day shooting the puck around, and it was just it was in my DNA.
Nice.
So
Yeah. You moved
then,
away from home at 13 to go live with your uncle Peter?
yeah, that
And
was
you
the
said because
time,
you had
and
to do 1 year grade 8 before you could go to St. Mike's there?
yeah, and then I played actually minor bantam for St. Mike's that year, so that kind
Okay.
of maybe helped me get into schooling. Then I went to St. Mike's grade 9, played major bantam there.
Was it
Um,
considered junior B at the time?
no,
No,
not yet.
not.
No,
It was different.
not to your, not to your 16 or 17.
Fair. You so you moved to play at St. Mike's, which
Yeah,
obviously a pretty historic school, still going.
yeah,
Alumni Pete Mahovlich, who would end up
to
coaching you
100
later.
guys.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
with Rick Tocchet, Eric Lindros, Frank Mahovlich, Dave Keon, Ted Lindsay, Red Kelly, Tim Horton.
yeah,
Even
amazing,
more than
amazing.
that.
Yeah,
You also played with eventual LA King and New Haven teammate Craig Duncanson, New Haven teammate John English, and Doug Clark, who you'd play against in the IHL. How was your
yeah.
time at St. Mike's there?
A lot of growing up because I wasn't living at home. So a lot of times I had to do things on my own, get on the bus, and we wore a uniform, so we were shirt and tie,
Was it boys
blazer
only or
sock.
no?
Yeah, only boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to get up, get on the bus, take it down. We lived at Bathurst and Lawrence, so a couple, three, 6, 7 stops, get off, and that was kind of my daily routine. Get on the bus, get home, and do your homework, do your chores, and then
What was that? How often did you practice and play?
I think we practiced twice a week, and we played upwards to 2 or 3 a week.
Okay. Fair. How was
And
that? So
bantam.
you actually like lived there, you said, or where
Oh
did
yeah,
you? Yeah,
I had to,
yeah.
Jacob, because the schedule was a bit hard.
No,
And then at bantam, I kind of switched. I went to Mississauga. Uh,
for you lived in
midget,
Mississauga, or
no, for midget. No, I
Oh,
lived
okay,
there, but
okay,
I played for Mississauga Reps.
okay.
Had a bit of a falling out with St. Mike's, blah blah blah. It always happens. Things happen.
Fair.
They wanted to go a different direction, and we were fine with it. So I was fine with it. I played with Mississauga Reps for half a year, and then the Toronto Marlies wanted me at the time, so I switched clubs there. That was minor midget.
Minor midget. Okay.
Played a year, finished out the year with the Marlies. Then my major midget, I came back to play for St. Mike's.
Okay.
They
That's
wanted
where
me
your
back.
first stats come in, I think. There, I
Yeah,
didn't know that there
exactly.
was
They
prior.
say it's they say it's junior B stats, but they're really midget stats.
Okay, fair. I was wondering with that because I didn't
Yeah,
know you were technically at St. Mike's 2 different times. Then that's
yeah,
your first year of like actual stats being on your
exactly.
page there. After St. Mike's, you went on to play in the OHL for Kingston as an undrafted player with names like Jeff Chikrin, Dennis Smith, or Herb Raglan, and late Scott Metcalf. who you'd all play with or against later in your career. What was your
Yep.
experience like going undrafted and having to carve out a spot for yourself in the
Well,
top junior league of the world?
sure. The reason I got there is Rick Kornacki was the junior B coach at St. Mike's. I had been called up for a couple games at that time, had some good games, and they invited me to camp. And things just went well for me there. Unfortunately, I broke my collarbone fourth or fifth day into camp. And from what I heard, I was arguably their best player at that time. They always say that. But I went home to heal a bit. And then I thought, shit, this junior thing isn't going to work out. I'm going to have to play tier two or play junior B. And then they wanted me back once I healed up. Rick and Hoagie, another guy, wanted me back. So came back, played the year there, kind of struggled, didn't really get off going very well.
Yeah, you didn't you kind of a late
No,
bloomer in
stats,
your stats a
yeah,
little bit. Yeah,
stats were bad.
yeah,
Next year, obviously put on a little weight, worked out,
yeah. You started to
came
get
back,
better there.
had a better camp.
Yeah.
Had a good half, I thought, almost a point a game, not really.
25 points, 34
Yeah,
games, and then did you
yeah,
get traded to North Bay?
yeah, I did for Scott Burney.
Okay.
The Again, Bert Templeton, I think saw I had two good games against uh, North Bay,
Yeah.
and Bert, I think obviously saw what he liked, and then they made a deal for me, and yeah, I went to North Bay. Not the best of seasons either.
Well, they kind of had a better team at the time, it seemed like, than
Yeah,
Kingston, so it was kind of harder to find your spot in the lineup
yeah,
with
we had a lot of guys that make the show
Darren
from that
Turcotte.
team.
You later played with, and
Yeah,
against Kevin Hatcher, Nick
Kevin Hatcher,
Kiprios. How was Bert
Davey.
Templeton? He's like the all-time coach of major junior hockey.
Bert was great. Bert sat in the back of the bus. He never sat in the front, so he would take the four seats by the bathroom. Um, he just, I think at that time he wasn't coaching on intimidation. He was kind of weaning down. He was getting older. I'm not going to say softer, but he was still hard. But for some reason, he really took a liking to me.
That's good. You need somebody to believe in you there.
Yeah, you need somebody in your corner. Um, yeah, it just then the next year, excuse me, I had a good camp, broke my hand, missed 2 months, kind of struggled, got going, had a really good kind of the last third of the year, got on a line with a couple guys, we put up some numbers, had a good playoffs. Then a scout from the Rangers, Paul Henry, invited me to a Ranger camp. At that, I don't know if you want to go that far
Yeah,
ahead.
so you right from North Bay, you got invited to the Ranger camp?
I did, yeah.
Okay,
There was
so
just a shot,
didn't
and
know that. What was your
yeah, I
first
just
camp like there?
it was an eye opening. Of course, your goal is to go in and make the club. Obviously, you want to make the Rangers, and unfortunately, I wasn't ready at the time
Was it a
physically.
development camp kinda or main
They
camp
had
or
we had 2 weeks of a development camp,
okay.
and then they have the main camp, and I didn't make it that year.
Fair, yeah. You were kind of
So
didn't weren't you kind of smaller at that time too, like a little
yeah,
thinner and yeah.
like 160 pounds, 170. I thought I could skate, had the skill, and I just wasn't ready. And oh, geez, they knew that. So I went to school the next year.
U of R, yeah.
Uh,
University
yeah,
of Regina.
next University of Regina. Didn't start off the best either, but turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Had a great year. Was I think the best thing that ever happened to me
That was
because
yeah, like that's something where a lot of guys at that time had no idea what to do after their
yeah,
junior career. If
exactly.
you couldn't find a place in the IHL or AHL or NHL, they kind of went all
It
over
was it was
the
good
world.
hockey. It was good hockey because a lot of the guys were ex dub guys, OHL. So kind of 3 year, 4 year junior guys that were good.
Yeah.
Mature. So you're kind of playing in a more men's league, and it really took off. I mean, I just
Yeah, you had
so then
60 points in 27 games, which still is the
yeah,
record to this day.
yeah,
And then
it's
26 goals in 27 games, which obviously you
yeah,
started to find kind of your
yeah.
scoring touch a little bit.
What happened really, I just said, kind of screw it, just go out and play, have fun, and that's what happened.
Yeah,
So
that's something almost where you could have taken it either way, where it
yeah,
could have felt like a step backwards or laterally and not felt like you were propelling yourself forward.
just there's so much perseverance involved. You always think that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like it's crazy. You're in university hockey, and there's always in the back of my mind, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I always thought that.
What made you choose University of Regina over? You said Saint
Yeah,
Avex.
St.
Yep.
FX. The problem in Ontario, we had grade 13. I didn't have all my credits, and in these other provinces, all you needed was your grade 12. And so I got Al Murray was my coach. Yeah, who he has his big resume as well.
Yeah, huge resume.
Kind of, yeah, kind of persuaded me to come there, and yeah, I
Nice.
came there, and yeah,
What do you think started clicking for you there?
he kind of gave me a tip, and I'll never forget it. He said, "The one thing you're not doing is when you cross the blue line, you stop skating." And I took that to heart, and then I just clicked in, and it was one little tip, and I just started using my wheels more and skating more.
Yeah, you
And
literally, you always told me that. It's
good,
hilarious.
good things happen. And
Yeah,
obviously the guys were it was what officiated much differently then,
yeah.
but I was getting hauled down and getting more power play time, and there was a lot of older guys there, 3 4 year older players that kind of giving me the business, and I got the worst initiation I've ever had in any hockey club ever when I went there. So
Do you want to say it or no?
no, it
Okay.
just obviously there's jealousy involved,
Yeah,
and I always had a bit of an attitude, and I was pissed off, but I had to prove every day, and yeah, I don't regret it. It was kind of helped me get to where I am.
good. Yeah. How was going back? How was your first development camp there? Do you remember the guys there? Or anybody
Uh,
notable?
some of them, when I went back to second year, half of them were there because they were draft picks.
Yeah.
So we had another development camp. I went back after my year in Regina. They liked what they saw. Phil and I
Esposito,
think
is
it was
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
Teddy Sater, Phil and
Yeah.
Esposito, and made the main camp. Um, then we split. So I got they signed me to a minor league contract. So all the minor league guys went to Denver. Main guy stayed
Were they
with the,
two-way at that time or no?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were.
I made
Why?
I made
Oh,
$18,000.
no. I mean, fair for
Back then it
yeah,
was I thought it was
something.
a
Yeah.
lot.
What? Going back to Regina with Al Murray, who obviously like a long resume after that,
Yeah, he's got a
director
great
and
he's a good
amateur scouting for LA and Tampa, all the way up until 1988 to 2019, then assistant GM with Tampa, then now he's senior advisor these past 3 years, and obviously he won a few cups there. You said he gave you that one tip. Did he help
yeah.
you in your professional game at all, like getting you to where you were? Like you ended up in
Sure.
LA at the same time as him.
Yeah, he's a great mind. Al is I don't know, he has a great knack knowing players, knowing what advice to give the players, and really just very positive. And again, I took that one tip, and as the season gone on with Regina, he was really helpful, very positive, very supportive, and I admire that. I respect that from him.
Nice. You said after. So how did you get the first invite for the Ranger camp? Who reached out?
Paul Henry was the scout for the Rangers.
Okay.
So after my last year junior, I was invited. Did my 2 week stint. They let me go. I had to find a place to play. Went to U of R. Had my year. Then Paul Henry knew what I did. They invited me back to camp. Impressed them enough to sign a minor league deal, and then went to the I. Played for Denver Rangers.
How was the main camp that year? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I mean, I was awestruck. All these great players, but you still got to play. I mean,
Who was there at that time?
ooh, Pierre LaRouche, uh, Kelly Kissio, Brian Mullen, um, Ron Greschner, Bobby Froze, a lot of older guys.
Kosher was there too, right? Didn't you say the
No,
no?
no, no,
Not
not
yet.
then. No, no.
That was eventually he was there
Chris,
in any
Chris
camp.
Nyland, George McPhee. Um, yeah. So yeah, and
Kind of an eye
yeah, then
opener.
yeah, but for me, making it to the to get signed up was the biggest thing for me,
Yeah, that
Jacob.
was something
I
you were
knew
looking to
that
play. Yeah.
I knew now in my heart that if I keep doing the things, I got a chance.
Nice. Yep. What? So obviously going from University of Regina and playing university hockey to kind of, I think the IHL was probably known
Yeah.
to be kind of savage. How was that
Yeah.
transition?
Yeah, it was both a lot of skill, a lot of toughness. Every
Yeah.
team had probably 3 or 4 legitimately tough guys. My first game I didn't play. So they sat me. I'm a new guy, played their guys. And then the next night we're in Salt Lake City, I remember I got in the lineup, had a golden assist. and then from there it just took off. So
Fair.
it
That's
just every night I did something offensively or defensively. Uh, obviously I had a great year. It was my
yeah,
best
really.
year.
That was probably arguably the best season of your
Yeah,
career.
yeah,
Those are your two. That was probably your most influential season of your career. It seemed like to
for
propel
sure.
you forward, and that was with
That's what
Coach
made me
Pete.
actually.
What's that?
That's kind of what made me
Yeah,
really.
we had. Well, I mean, you had 44 goals and 100
Yeah,
points, and I mean that you
yeah,
never really put those numbers up again. But obviously, that propelled you to like where you got to. You
absolutely.
had
Yeah,
Coach Pete Mahovlich there, who obviously was extremely successful player with 4 Stanley Cups, all with the Canadians, who had
yeah.
some of the best teams of all time. Some of the names: John Beliveau. How is it? Yvonne Cornier, or how do you say? It? Yeah.
Como, yeah, yeah.
John Claude Tremblay, Jacques Lemaire, Henri
Larry
Richard,
Robinson.
Frank
He,
Mahovlich, Ken Dryden, Guy Lafleur, Serge Savard, Guy Lapointe, Steve Shutt, Larry Robinson,
it's
Scotty
endless.
Bowman, Al McNeil. Obviously, they have a combined million Stanley Cups as an organization when he was there. What did you learn from him, and how did you gain his
Huh.
trust?
Wow, learned. Well, he had to work hard. First of all, that was his number one thing. Every day you have to come in and prove, be early, be punctual, work hard. It was the same philosophy every day, Jacob, with him. I don't think they really thought what they had. I think until October, November, and then because I pushed their prospects down,
Yep.
right where I was moving up in the ladder. So he was. I mean, obviously he's getting messages from top, player prospects, but
Yep.
I forced his hand, him and Dougie Sotard's hand to play me because I was producing.
Did
So,
he kind of share any wisdom of his time playing with you, or
yeah, he was a funny guy, man. He'd always say, "This is how you have to play in the National Hockey League." And he'd bring me in his room, and this sounds really stupid, but he was always nude. Like
okay?
I'm like, "Fuck, Mahav, can you put some clothes on, please?" Like, and he'd always say, "This is how you have to play in the National Hockey League," and I'll never forget that.
I mean, he'd been there and done that, so you listen to a guy
Yeah,
like that.
he was, and I was more later on his whipping boy. He really laid into me,
Made you
and
as an example, kind of. Yeah,
yeah, it was love hate. He would hammer me,
I mean that means
and
he
I'm like,
probably cared about you though at some
yeah,
at some level.
to be honest with you, he's the one that really got me there because he pushed me so hard, eh?
What was he saying with how successful you were with the Denver Rangers on your
He
chances with
didn't,
the New York Rangers? Was he saying anything really or no?
no, not really,
No,
because again, they're pushing their prospects, and
he didn't
you'd think
fit into what
after,
they were
you'd
trying
think
to.
in January, February, I would have got a shot, like, because I was putting up numbers,
Yeah,
and
like do even just a game or what
yeah,
something.
no chance,
No.
no chance. Yeah,
After that season, did you go to main camp again or
yeah,
yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
Had a very good camp.
Yeah, you had
Thought I,
well going back to the end of that season, you had 20 points 12 playoff games, and you lost in the finals to Salt Lake Golden
yeah,
Eagles.
yeah.
So obviously 100 points in the regular season, then 20 points in 12 playoff games. That should get you a sniff with the Rangers. But what happened there?
I love your optimism, Jacob,
It should
but no,
at
no,
least a
no
sniff.
chance. No, actually, when I went to camp, I really, I mean, I thought I really had a good camp. They'd give me a shot. Um, Coach didn't like young guys. Michel Bergeron wasn't too fond of rookies and young guys. Was an older veteran guys, which was fine. I mean, that's life. And I had a lot of guys come up to me, older guys, veteran guys, saying, "Listen, Todd, you've had a great camp. You deserve to be here. Don't get discouraged. Go down, work hard, and then we'll see what happens." So that was a positive. At least I won those guys over. So that was good.
How do you think attending two main camps, development camp, how do you think that progressed your game mentally and on the ice? Do you think that you took that
Oh,
back with you in the IHL and the AHL,
oh, for sure,
or yeah,
for sure, Jake. Yeah, everything. This again. We've talked about this. The game is easier there. It really is. Guys do their job.
yeah,
It's just fundamentally easier. It's hard to explain because you actually have to be there to do it. Where in the minors, everything's kind of you're trying to prove every night. Eh?
yeah,
Like
yep,
trying to grab the puck
Well, you
and
were
go.
driving the team. It seemed like you and a few guys versus
Yeah,
obviously the NHL. You had guys that knew how to play and how to play with other guys versus you were
it's,
kind of the driver of your line maybe in the IHL.
yeah. And then the second year, I don't know. Do you want to go to the second year?
So second year you had 35 points in 28 games with Denver in the
Yeah,
IHL, and then did you get
yeah.
traded to New Haven?
I got traded to LA's organization. Yeah,
Okay. And how did
yeah.
that come about? Do you know?
Uh, well, Mahav and I pretty much kind of hated each other. We just, uh, I was just done getting whipped, and I needed it.
Well, and they didn't even that was their last season, the
Yeah,
Denver Rangers. So you kind of
and they
got
went.
lucky getting out.
Yeah, exactly.
And you,
And
so
then
you find yourself in New Haven, which was
yeah,
New Haven Nighthawks, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
more veteran guys.
yeah. What was the
Um,
difference between IHL and AHL?
Seemed to be more veteran, older guys playing. Smart, cagey, veteran guys
Yeah, fair.
played
Different,
hard,
better skill, worse, or what do you think?
just
Same.
hard, just physically hard on the puck. Doing north and south, playing hard.
Yep. Um, you experienced John Tortorella really early in his coaching career, who's known to be
Yeah,
brutally honest and extremely
yeah.
passionate, which can be good and bad. He was paired with head coach Rick Dudley. What did you think of these pair of coaches who would then go on to coach the
Well,
Buffalo Sabres together for the next 3 seasons after that one?
at that time they were both dynamite, like explosions. But um,
Just snapshots.
I like no, they were great. I love Duds. Duds was great. He had a short fuse, um, but he was fair. You work hard, he's not gonna have a problem. Torts was a little, you know, we had our differences. I don't think I was a big fan of his, and um, that's just how it goes. Guys have different opinions, but in the end of it all, I won him over. He really respected me as a player and a person. I really, had a great playoff there again.
Yeah, you had
Uh,
22 points in 17
yeah,
playoff games. You lost in the finals again,
yeah,
unfortunately, to
and
Adirondack.
even the last third, I really, really came. Just the game started coming me. So
That was something where like you always how do you say contributed in the playoffs. Why do you think that was? Like it just seemed
he's
to
like,
always be
I just. Like maybe a switch went off, and it was fun for me. Really, go out, have fun, see what happens, and let's see where the chips
just getting
fall.
a little bit of a flow state, like just play.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You don't practice as much. Weather's better. Um, yeah. You just enjoy the time.
fair. You had 36 points in 43 regular season games. So obviously going into a different
Yeah.
organization kind of early or halfway through season can be tough and you the
Yeah.
playoff numbers speak for themselves. You found your way, and obviously you won over the coaches and got your
Yeah.
role there. At the end of the
Exactly.
season there with New Haven, what were did you have exit interviews at the time, or what was that
No,
like?
no, no,
No.
because Duds was already gone to Buffalo, so they were
Okay.
gone.
He just knew,
Yeah.
they knew.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what was it a close series with Adirondack in the final there? Was it?
Yeah. We had him. It was 3-2. We had to wait a week because the circus was in town. It was kind of a goofy setup. They beat us in six. Um, yeah,
Wait, what
just
in?
we had them. They had a
Yeah.
good team. They had a lot of good veteran players. Adam Graves, Joe Murphy.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Good
yeah. They
team.
had a good team.
What?
We over to me we overachieved
Yeah. I mean that's
because the first series against Sherbrooke, they were first, we were fourth. I ended up scoring a winning goal in overtime one night in
nice.
in New Haven, and that really pissed them off. Like it kind of we started getting momentum.
Nice. Yeah. So it
It's
just started to
kind
click.
of a
Yeah.
weird goal. Come around the net on my backhand, threw one out, went off the goalie stick and in. Just a bit of luck.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
got to
yeah,
throw it at the
and
net
we needed
sometimes.
that. We beat them at six. Were they pissed? Holy cow!
That they
They
kind of
thought
had
they
a
were gonna.
full like Canadian division almost that you were in there.
Yeah,
That was a little
exactly.
weird,
Yeah, yeah,
but that kind of followed you around with later with LA in is it the Smith or Smythe
yeah.
division, Smythe
Smythe.
division.
Yeah,
You were I think fourth seed. Calgary was first seed, and obviously you
yeah,
upset them, but we'll get to
yeah.
that. Um, did you know you'd have a chance next season with the Kings, and did you attend main
I
camp and?
yeah. I did the main camp. I obviously going in trying to make it, and I thought I think I showed them. maybe they were looking down the road a bit. I maybe they didn't think I was ready at the time. But that so be it. So I went back down. I was a bit pissed, but I didn't sulk, and I went down and worked my bag off, put up some good numbers.
Yeah, quick in that season, then you
Yeah,
kind of got your
I was like,
chance.
yeah, I just like, you know what? If this is going to be the time, this is it.
Any
So
stories from the Kings main camp there? What do you think of Gretzky, Robitaille, Taylor,
they
Robinson, and
they were good. They don't really try in camp, so
Fair?
they were.
Yeah.
I know here we are trying to work, bust our butts off to keep up to them, and just to kind of stay with them a bit.
Well, that was kind of the time when. Was it still the time period where people came to camp to get into shape, or was it?
Yeah, yeah,
No, yeah.
yeah. That's kind of true, Jake.
Well, there's I listened to the a Robitaille podcast the other day, and he was talking about how Gretz was working out with Janet all summer, and then he came into camp and he's like, "I'm in shape, I'm doing good," and then he like threw his back out and got hurt to
Yeah,
start the season. He's like, "I'm never doing that again."
I don't think he could lift
Well,
145. The play.
so they did a push up test and he only could do like two before, and then he got like 20 and thought he was like the shit, you know. I mean, he was the best player of all time. He can do whatever
But
you want.
yeah, you
But
leave him. You just leave him alone. So
yeah, right. He's gonna figure
yeah,
it out. So you started the next season with New Haven and quickly ripped 43 points, 32 games with new
yeah,
coaches. You had two. It said two player coaches, Nick Fotiu and
yeah.
Tim
It's a team.
Bothwell. How was it
Yeah,
having two coaches that were also players?
that that was great. It was a lot of fun actually. Marcel Como was the main
Yep,
coach.
the head coach.
And
Yep.
we had Nikki and Timmy, and Nikki was the prankster, the funny guy, kept us all loose. Timmy was more serious. He was the defenseman. Um, all good guys, Jake. Really, really down to earth guys,
They
and
had
very,
two.
very helpful. Very positive. Obviously, pats in the back, and just keep going. You're doing well. So.
I mean, they had long NHL careers
Oh
too,
yeah,
so
they
that's
were. Yeah,
probably
yeah.
really
And
good
they saw
experience.
they saw obviously what I could do. To be honest with you, Jake, again going back, uh, and I hate to say that, I was like, screw it, just go out and play and screw everybody,
Yep.
and it kind of worked out that way. It just worked out.
I mean, yeah, like the points speak for themselves, and then
Yeah.
looks like
But
your first.
every day you have to prove, Jake. I had to prove, and prove
Yep.
every day because you're not drafted. You're the outside guy looking in, and it's every day, bud. Every day.
So it looks like you got your first game in December 11th,
Yeah.
1989 in Montreal.
Yeah.
How did you end up getting that first shot with the Kings, and what was that like? What were you thinking that day? And
Yeah. So we play in the minors. You play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the game was Monday in Montreal. So I'm sleeping in bed at mom and I'm exhausted. So about 1 o'clock, I get a call from Pat Hickey, our GM, and he says he got called up. And I say, yeah, yeah, it's whatever. He says, no, you got to be in Hartford by 3 because you got to get a flight, which is an hour away. And then you arrive in Montreal 5:30, and then you had to get to the stadium. So mom's kind of hustling. We got to get in the Jeep. We got to go to the rink, get my gear.
are you saying 3 a.m. or 3 p.m.? You had to
3
be
p.m.
three.
3
Okay, so you
p.m.
had a little time,
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah,
it's an hour.
yeah.
Yeah, so I had to be there around 3. Flights at 3:30, quarter to 4. So we're mom and I are hustling around. I'm half asleep. Get to Hartford. She drops me off. Make the flight. Get into Montreal. Jump in a cab, and I'll never forget. Walk. I got my gear, and in Montreal at the time, everything is etiquette. Like everybody's so dressed, and they're very classy. And when I walk in, Bruce McNall's walking in with me, the owner.
Wow.
Yeah, and he goes, "Hey, you got called up." I said, "Yeah, I thank you. I really appreciate it." He says, "Enjoy it and go have fun." So I'm kind of the first in the room. They're not there yet, and all these jerseys are around. It's like, wow.
Crazy. I mean, that's like literally the hardest place to play your first game
Yeah.
ever. Like,
So I walk in. Gretz is there. Larry's beside him. And then you have, I think, Blakey, Steve Duchesne. So
was Blake on wasn't he still a rookie?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he was.
No,
Yeah.
he wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
he
He.
came
Yeah.
in. He came in halfway,
Yeah. Larry
and then I've
Robinson, Dale
got
Taylor,
here
Robitaille.
are me and the I'm in the back corner with number 6, and I didn't. I was like, who gives a shit? This
That's
is
a good
great.
number to get, though.
But Jake, I was on cloud 9. I don't think my feet touched the ground.
Do
I
you
was
remember that day? Like, what were you
well,
thinking?
well, it was a dream, eh? So I'm in warm up and I'm just looking around, trying not to screw up, And
What?
then I get. It's ironic. I get one shift. So
Didn't you trip over the blue line too? You
yeah, I did.
said. Yeah, one shift. Get
But
to watch
but I had
those.
the best. I had the best seat in the house.
Yeah,
So
you got
I
to
didn't.
watch Gretz up close there, Bernie
Yeah,
Nichols and Robitaille, and
yeah. It was 2-2. I remember we tied 2-2. Bernie had both goals.
wow,
Yeah, and I remember Richer. I think Richer had both for Montreal. He was flying around crazy. So then we fly to Hartford over charter. Then we practice. Then they send me down. Play the next night. Rogie watches me play. Call me up the next night. We play in Jersey. Um, then I stay the whole year.
fair. What was? Do you remember who was on that Montreal team and New Jersey team
So,
for your first two games?
so the Guy Carbonneau, Denny
Oh wow,
Savard, Shane Corson, Mike Keane, Stefan Richer, Claude Lemieux, Larry. No, not Larry. Uh, who's the defenseman there before there was? Well, obviously Patrick Waugh.
wow.
Yeah, and then in Jersey they had. I mean, Kenny Danico. They were kind of a
Different.
muck team kind of
Fair.
at the time.
Yeah. What?
So
So when you finally got your chance there after those two games, it seemed like a
yeah,
combination of injuries and sickness. With
yeah,
looked like Dave
exactly.
Taylor and Steve Casper were out of the lineup. Then you were slotted in at wing, and then with Steve Casper out, I think they moved you to center
Center,
on
yeah.
your own
So
line.
Jersey, Uncle Mike and Dad flew in, got an assist, got a like just gave it to those guys. They put it in. So we can't. We bus from Jersey to Philly. It's an hour and a half. So Dad, we can't get Dad. Dad wants to come. Can't get him a flight. So the team let him come on the team bus to bus to Philly.
Your dad on the bus to Philly. Yeah.
So we
that's
got yeah, it's crazy.
that's
So
funny.
we get him a hotel room. He's there. We get him a flight back home. I don't know if I get an assist that night. I don't play much. Just looking. Then we flew home all the way back, and then yeah, just you like you said, some injuries happen, sicknesses. Uh, then my 8th game in, we're back on the road. We go to Washington New Year's Day. Start the game. 12 seconds in, I get my first goal. So
Wow.
Elik was given a chance to play regularly after Bernie Nichols was traded. His career got off to a great start on New Year's Day when he scored his first 2 NHL goals in a 7-4 win at Washington.
Kind of solidify your spot in the lineup. Obviously,
I think so. I think obviously I had to prove the number 99 a lot.
well, that's
So
so. You guys came back from 4-1 to win 7-4 that game, and after the game, they have a quote from you. You said you wouldn't believe what this feeling is like. You get your chance, and if you make the best of it, then it's the best feeling in the world. This is what I've worked for 23 years. And Gretzky has a quote to follow that up about you. There's no question that Elik's one of our better players in the organization. He's got a tremendous amount of talent, and somehow we're going to have to find him ice time, which obviously coming from a player like that, that's pretty
yeah,
special. Um,
unbelievable.
and
Unbelievable.
that obviously probably had some control over you actually getting a shot.
A little bit, bud.
um, so what was that? What were you thinking after kind of solidifying a spot in the lineup next to names like Gretzky, Robitaille, Taylor, Robinson?
To be honest with you, but I was scared. Uh, just wanting to stay there and keep my position.
Yeah,
Every day again, you had to prove, right? So
fair. You managed to get 33 points in your first 48 games that season after staying with them. How do you feel like how do you feel like you actually kept your spot in the lineup? Do you feel like they obviously traded away Bernie Nichols, which was
yeah,
kind of weird? Do you think that kind of
yeah,
solidified it?
I think so. I think they had enough faith in me and belief that I could obviously not fulfill Bernie's shoes, but make our team better. That's what they thought.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fill 150
70,
points, 70 goal
70 goals.
season.
That's
Crazy.
impossible.
But The owner, Bruce McNall, was on record saying that you guys needed more grit, so then he traded
Yeah,
for Granato and Sandstrom, which it worked out and well. It seemed like Granato and Sandstrom
yeah,
had very
yeah,
good careers, very good numbers. Um, but he had 75 points in 47 games leading up to the trade, which is just
yeah.
insane to trade a guy like that.
Well, one of those guys is he just. I like Bernie, good guy. Very just wanted just could put in the puck in the net. Could do it.
How do you think that trade worked out for the team and the organization? Do you think it was good or bad?
It was, I think, good in both ways.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Which he
yeah,
went to the Rangers, right? Was that?
yeah.
Yeah.
He
And then
went.
he ended up like top 10 in scoring, obviously.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Very
He
good
just
player.
those things happen. I think you know. I'm not going to say it, but I think him and Gretz maybe had a bit of differences. So
Well, that's what one of the I'm trying to think. Gretz was talking about. I think Messier and how, or it was Robitaille, but like how if you weren't on Messier's like in his squad, you weren't really on the team. Which obviously,
yeah,
if you're that good of a player, you kind of have the sway in what the team looks like. So
pretty
could be the
much, man.
case for sure.
That's how it works. It's just unfortunately, but that's how it works.
Yeah, and Gretz ended up playing with Sandstrom and Granato on a line, didn't he, or no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For almost 2 years, 3 years.
So kind of worked out in the way that he
Yeah,
wanted it
yeah,
to as
yeah. They
well.
put up good numbers. Thomas put up good numbers. Yeah,
Yeah, very both like honestly, both very good. Like almost 90 points for was it
yeah.
Sandstrom the next year?
40 goals. Yeah,
Very good. Playing with Gretzky, obviously, that's
yeah.
very
Just get
possible.
open.
Yeah.
Just get open.
So you went on in your rookie season to lead the Kings in playoff scoring, where in the first rounds you beat the defending Cup champs and the team who swept the Kings the year prior, who in the Flames, who had finished the Smythe Division 24 points ahead of you guys. So you guys were huge underdogs with their team having Joe Nieuwendyk, Doug Gilmour, Al McInnes, Sergei Makarov, Gary Sutter, Gary Roberts, Joe Mullen, Theo Fleury, and Mike Vernon. You guys, I saw in the video, you went up to Banff to get ready for the
Yeah.
series, and you didn't have Gretzky for the first two games, where you had 4 points through the two games, and you guys split 1-1. What
Yeah.
were those first two games like in your first experience of playoff
Oh,
hockey?
that was exciting. Very nervous. Obviously wanted to do well. Um, we worked hard and um, got a lot of luck, some good bounces, and we competed very hard against them.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were, I think, like 1,000 to 1 odds to
Yeah, they
obviously win
were.
the cup, but they were up
I had
there.
to, and the centerman. I had to play against Gilmore, Nieuwendyk, Joel Otto, and these guys are good, pretty good players.
That
So
one goal there, I think you win the face-off against Nieuwendyk, and then Mike Vernon kind of messes around with
yeah,
the
you just
puck a bit, and then you
sleeping.
score.
Yeah, you just sleeping. Yeah, it happens. So
Which they got you guys back in I think the second game there, but
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
going on
But
from that,
they were very dirty physical series.
well, apparently for some reason they won the year prior, and then they just kind of lacked like some sort of edge the next year or something. They were saying,
I don't think so. I think they had the same team, Jake.
that doesn't make any sense why they were kind
Oh,
of struggling so much then.
exactly. My
Especially
point. Yep.
without Gretzky in the first two games, and you guys win one of those, so
Yeah.
that's huge to go home with with the tied series. You guys went on to beat them 4-2 in the series,
Yeah.
where I think Game 4 was the third tied for the third highest scoring playoff game ever with a 12-4 win, and you had 4 points that game. What did you take away from that series personally, and then as well as a team? Do you think?
Um, for personally, geez, a big. I mean, a big. Sorry, Jake.
You're good.
Um, uh, one sec. Um, Obviously, beating the defending champions was huge. We, going in there underdogs and going in and beating them was a tremendous lift for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of confidence, but
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah,
second round was against Edmonton, and you guys got swept. Which
yeah.
obviously, looking
No,
at their
I think we
team,
lost. We lost in six, I think, that year.
that year was a sweep to Edmonton. The
Was
next
it?
year was it was 4-2. You watch obviously their team had Messier, Curry, Glenn Anderson, Tikkanen, Simpson, Klima,
Here, yeah.
McTavish, and Billy Ranford and Grant Fuhr, which obviously they had without Gretzky, it was a little bit harder for them, but they ended up winning that season, which
Yeah.
probably hurt Gretz a lot mentally. You guys kind of got stomped the first two games, 7-0, 6-1. But then you came back to LA for two close games where you lost 5-4 and 6-5 in OT. You managed to get a goal and assist in game 3 and then 2 assists in game 4, but obviously it just wasn't enough that
Yeah.
season there. They just kind of swept right through
Yeah, they
you.
were on a they were on a steamroll. They were going good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was I think the last year they won until they kind of fell apart a little bit.
Yeah. 90,
90,
yeah.
yeah.
And they started
Uh,
just yeah.
yeah, they kind of started to fall apart, but I mean they got one more cup after Gretz. What did you take away from that series against the Oilers in your first postseason?
the that's we got a long way to go if you want to
Which
be a champ.
Mess was your kind of idol player
Yeah, he
going up?
was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was a kid. I remember sitting at home watching him and obviously playing against him. It was very hard, very physical, dirty. But we had a long way to go. I mean, to compete against them, and they were the standard, really.
yeah,
So he had to
and
be,
that's
he, to get. It sucks because the 2 years we lost them, it's hindsight, but you get through them. Maybe it's an easier road.
well, that's what hurt. I'm not going into the second season, but that's what hurts the second season
Yeah,
is it was 4-2 and it was like four
mini,
overtime games and
and then mini. They played Edmonton plays mini. Mini beats them.
yeah, mini one, and then you ended up
Yeah, and
in
then
mini after that. But
Pittsburgh won the Stanley Cup that year. Yeah,
um, obviously, that's something that I want to get into eventually. But
sure.
uh, one of the guys previously mentioned on those the that played with Pete on the Canadian teams was Larry Robinson, who's an assistant captain for you on the Kings there.
Yeah.
He won literally every award possible multiple times, and he leads the plus minus to this day in the NHL history with plus 722,
That's
which is a
unbelievable.
plus 140 more than the second place player Bobby Orr, which it's
I
just
was going to say that.
insane.
I thought it was Bobby Orr that had
It
it.
plus 722. What did he bring to that Kings team as a leader and as a player?
He,
And
he was a Jake. He was a great guy. Funny, very competitive. Obviously, a winning pedigree. A lot of good things to say. Positive. Knowing how to play in the playoffs. But just a great man. A lot of respect for Larry. Just a really good guy.
any stories about him specifically that stand out, or
Well, they won so much that it got boring after a while listening to them. So,
that's what was he pretty vocal as a leader or no?
not in LA. He was a bit. He was on his down year. I think he
Yeah,
played 2 years there, and then that was it. He was still a force. Um, just controlling the puck, big man in his prime. He could do it all. He beat up the toughest guy in the league one year, Dave Schultz. Just destroyed him,
wow.
and people were like, "Holy cow, this is unbelievable."
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he won
Stuff
everything.
like yeah, you never messed with Larry. Larry would be like he could do it all,
Yeah,
offense, defense, fight, everything.
crazy.
And
Uh,
he hit so hard, Jacob. Wow.
big guy too. Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
6'3", 6'4".
yeah.
Just a funny guy. We just had so much fun.
That's good. What you also had Dave Taylor, who won the King
Stitch
Clancy
was
Award. He won
Stitch was
for I mean he won it for leadership and humanitarian contributions. So obviously he had a very storied career. What did you take away from him as a person and as a teammate and a
well,
leader?
I just learned so much. He just a very humble man, great leader, great human being. Made me feel like I was more important than him. Just stuff like that. Him and John Tonelli were the same cloth. They were just so humble guys and just so respectful and made you feel like you were, important, very important.
Nice. You ended up kind of playing with him and Robitaille. It seemed like at
Yeah.
times, yeah,
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 a lot.
yeah. Like a lot of the highlights are Robitaille and
Two
Dave
years,
Taylor.
almost 2 years of it. Yeah.
Nice. You also, when you came into LA, you lived with Marty McSorley,
Yeah.
who had won two cups coming over from Edmonton, who came over with Gretzky and Krushelnyski. How was he in helping you get your feet under you?
Sure. When they finally told me to get a place to live, I think he maybe got wind of it and said, "Listen, if you need a place to stay, you can stay with me." He was never really there at the apartment a lot. He was always out and sorry,
No, you're good.
he was always he was always around and busy guy and but very kind and very good to mom and I.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I mean that's all I've heard from you is that he was off the ice like the nicest guy, and then
Yeah.
obviously on the ice a little bit different, but
Yeah, he just had a bit of a switch and
yeah.
went off sometimes. So
Yeah, that helps. I in the 30 for 30 with Gretzky getting traded to LA, it was interesting that they were willing to give everything in that trade package to LA just for Gretzky, and then he was like, "No, you got to grab some
Yeah,
guys with me so I can play with somebody,"
yeah.
and that's how they got McSorley and
Actually,
Krushelnyski.
Crucial Niski was like Taylor and Tenelli, just class.
Very nice. Okay,
Yeah,
good deal.
excellent.
Unfortunately, he obviously didn't ask for Tikkanen with that trade, and that's kind of the brick wall that stood in your guys'
Yeah,
path there. But
exactly, exactly.
so Gretzky came over from the Oilers after winning 4 cups and every award possible. He won like 5 Hart trophies in a row, and then he came into the position of LA, who finished 20th out of 21 teams that year prior, and missed the playoffs three out of 6 seasons the year prior to his arrival. How do you think he handled that challenge? Obviously, in these interviews and all the information out there, he kind of knew that it wasn't going to be the same, obviously, as Edmonton with the championship winning teams. And obviously, he wasn't trying to lose, though. He still won a
No,
couple Hart trophies there. How do you think he handled that going from Edmonton to LA?
I think he handled it very well. I think obviously Edmonton had some very good players at the time. Not disrespecting any of the LA players when he came in. Um, they were a force. Edmonton, they had it all: toughness, scoring. And when he came to LA, it took a bit of time for the team management to put a team together for
Yeah,
him, you know.
yeah.
And he did it quite well. I think he handled it very well.
I mean, it's just so odd that how that went down. Of it
Yeah.
just sounded like a mixture of a lot of things, and
It
winning
was kind
four
of a
cups
shock.
and
It was a big shock, Jacob, when
yeah,
he got
I mean,
traded.
winning 4 cups in 5 years, and it seems like they couldn't really afford him going forward, so they got ahead of it.
Yeah.
But it's just so odd that you have a guy that's won 5 Hart trophies in a row and like four cups in 5 years, and then you start the downfall of your team with that. And obviously, there's regret there from Edmonton. But do you have any stories about him as a person that kind of showed his character?
Yeah, he's just very open. Obviously, the best player, funny guy, joking a lot. Kind of stayed away from him. It didn't really bother him much. So kept my distance. Very respectful to him. He was very respectful to me. I think, like anything, if you can do your job, they'll be all respectful. So, in
Yeah.
general, we had a really good relationship.
Luke said on the podcast that he was just kind of a quiet leader in the locker room, but obviously he's the best player of all time. So he would go out there and lead by example and be verbal on the ice.
Perfect. Yeah, when he spoke not very often, but when he did, everybody paid attention.
Yeah, fair. I mean, you can kind of do whatever you want when you're that kind of player, but
Yeah, but he
obviously he
did it.
was still a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. He could be behind it.
Nice. Looking back on your first full season in the NHL, what stands out to you specifically?
Getting the opportunity to play there and knowing that I could play there.
Proving it to yourself, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Any singular game that comes to your mind over the rest? Was it the Washington
Well,
game?
playing the first game in Montreal and scoring my first goal
Yeah,
were highlights definitely.
very fair.
Yeah.
Any players that you were blown away by playing with or against?
Obviously, Luke could score. Gretz, Mario Lemieux
Yeah,
was, he's pretty amazing. Holly was pretty good. Otzi and a lot of stars on teams. Then, I mean, some very good players everywhere.
yeah, very, very good. How do you feel like your mindset evolved over that season after you kind of proved that you could stay with that big club there?
Had to go home, get in the best shape of my life because wanted to make sure that I came back ready, not giving the club an opportunity to say that I wasn't ready. Just forcing their hand, just keep doing the good things, keep working hard, and keep competing.
What were you doing during the off season? Were you in LA or what were you doing?
No, we were home. We spent the summer in Penetanguishene, which is just north of Toronto. Did a lot, 5 days a week, going to the gym, doing my bike work, my weights, and just making sure that first test day in September that I was ready. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all. My whole summer was focused on that.
fair. And that obviously paid off. You had a very good season the next year. But
Yeah.
what do you think is a struggle that most people don't think about outside looking in for professional athletes that you had to deal with?
I think being in shape is probably a lot on top of the pedestal. And for hockey, I think knowing, getting the trust from your coaches that they can trust you in all three zones of the ice, and obviously defensively, if you can't play in your own end, you're not going to play in the NHL.
Yep, fair. What was your favorite road city or road arena and environment
Chicago by far.
by far?
The
Why?
old
Why?
the old stadium was amazing. The national anthem gave you goosebumps. It was just a class rink, very old school, and just the whole thing about it was amazing.
Sure. And the food and
And
everything, yeah.
the city was great. Great hotel, food, everything.
What who's your least favorite player to play against?
Um, Geez, at that time was probably Kenny Linsman or even Theo Fleury.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he was a little pest, but he's a good guy. He played hard. I remember we were in warm up when I got called up because we played against each other in the minors a little, and he looked over and he goes, you finally made it, eh?" And I said,
Oh,
"Yeah."
that's
it was
nice.
pretty funny.
Very
So
nice. Yeah,
yeah.
that time period was so different. Seeing the highlights, like you're getting hauled down. Like if you're in front of the net, you're not going to
Oh,
be standing. You
you're
know what I
you're
mean?
getting
Like,
assaulted. You're getting cross checked,
yeah,
speared. Yeah, you're getting mauled.
like just tugged down, cross checked,
Oh,
speared.
Jacob, if they if they called the rules like then
Oh,
now,
it's yeah,
be 3-on-3
way
hockey.
way different. That's what like guys in front of the net now. Unfortunately, you give a little cross check, and that's a cross checking penalty now. But
Yeah, exactly.
what was the life on the road like for you? Who's your roommate, and what did you guys do normally?
Tim Waters was my roommate. Pretty much got in town, went to dinner together. Um, going to the rink, pregame skates, having afternoon naps after your meal, getting ready for the game. Yeah, just it was a lot of fun going to because in LA you probably go on a 6 or 7 game road trip out east because you'd hit so many teams, and then you do that twice a year. So
Which probably a little bit different now. Now there's so many
yeah,
teams. Yeah,
they don't do as much, Jake. I
yeah,
think one trip they go out east.
fair. How was life like in LA? And it seems like obviously the biggest
Amazing.
sports story at the time was the Kings because of Gretzky.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I was in New Haven from one ocean, and then literally living on the Pacific Ocean in LA was a dream, Jacob. It was something that I pinched myself every day, and driving to the practice rink, going along the ocean, and really was blessed, really lucky to be in that situation.
Kind of a weird time period there. Like the Lakers were like not as good, and then
No, they were
there's
they were still good, just
yeah,
coming down a bit.
just not as okay.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
it seemed like obviously like
yeah.
crime and stuff like that, and you got the rink was in an interesting area.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah,
It was
in Inglewood, and yeah, Mom would come with me to the games because if they come alone, you never know. And then you just get in and get out, and once you got to the airport, you're kind of safe. And then once you got to the beach, it was okay.
that rink seemed really cool though. Like the
Yeah,
setup of that rink, yeah.
yeah, just 2 levels and the form. It's funny because in the morning skates the ice was better, and then at the night the games it was more
Because
soft,
of heat or what? Yeah.
probably from the lights. Hey,
Oh, fair. That was obviously living in LA, Hollywood
yeah,
being there, and your owner would bring in celebrities before and after the game,
yeah, we got
like crazy,
yeah,
like Tom Hanks, Sylvester Stallone, Tom
yeah,
Cruise, Kevin Costner,
yeah. We were
John
pretty
Candy.
lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was the best. Uncle Buck was the best. To be honest with you, Jake, we didn't go to Hollywood a lot. Mom and I kind of stayed to the beach area. We only went there when family would come into town. We'd take them up.
fair.
We liked the beach area a lot, but Bruce brought a lot of celebrities. It was fun. Yeah,
That's funny. What
yeah,
it seemed like John Candy was like a kind of a mascot for the team at the
yeah. He
time, but
was.
what any other you had pictures with Chuck Norris, which is such a
Yeah,
random picture, but
he,
like what do you remember most? Like what celebrity kind of comes to mind?
he, pretty much John Caney was the most
Yeah,
outspoken. When we meet these celebrities, it was really short. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. Take a quick picture, and that was it. So
fair.
2 3 minutes. Um, uh, Hanks wasn't bad. He was nice. MacGyver. Really liked John McEnroe a lot.
Yeah, he was
He was
around. Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Yeah, Mac was great, and I liked him obviously as a tennis player.
yeah,
So
athlete. Yeah,
yeah,
really great athlete. That's what's kind of cool with that area, and obviously
he was fun.
Gretzky's stardom was almost like he spent a lot of time with the best athletes of other sports. It seemed like
Sure.
so kind
Yeah,
of a cool area to be for him specifically, but then for you guys to kind of live through that time and see all these
exactly.
celebrities and these people coming by and you have a bunch of pictures with a bunch of people that it's just like it's weird to see you with those
Yeah, it's
people.
yeah. You're
Um,
shot. It's a dream. It's a dream, bud.
uh, talking about family and friends, how were they with you kind of throughout your first season, and how did you manage that? Do you feel like anybody overstepped or anything, or
In general, family was great. Only when I went to Toronto because I was from there and getting tickets and cousins and that, and try to give as much time as I could to them, but pretty much devoting most of my time to mom and dad.
yeah,
So yeah, everybody was pretty good.
nice. Did your mom and dad kind of come and visit in LA a bunch or no?
Yeah, mom and I got married in LA in December. Mom came for that, and then dad came twice
Nice.
to have a visit. So it was great.
Nice.
Yeah, it
How
was great.
was the wedding there? You've mentioned it in the past. Like Gretzky was there
Sure.
and your teammates
Yeah,
were
we
there.
had we had pretty much, I think, 80% of the team there.
Wow,
It was just, mom and I wanted to do it that way. They were very kind, and it just worked out that way. So
nice. That's awesome.
yeah, it's great.
Um, Last question. What was your mindset going into your second season, and you already talked about the off season. You just worked as hard
Yeah.
as you could to come ready.
Obviously, to win a Stanley Cup, that was our goal.
Well,
So
that
pretty much.
the next season was the closest you guys got there when you were there. You unfortunately there was a few overtime losses to Edmonton. That if you just got past them, I think that was
Yeah,
you're at least in the
exactly.
finals probably. But
Close conference finals at least, and then
yeah,
maybe finals.
yeah. What anything else that comes to mind from the first year with the Kings?
No, just obviously great experience.
Yeah,
So
fair. Well, thank you. I appreciate you doing this.
yeah, no,